So today I just want to talk about NATO symbology and what the different symbols mean. It's usually pretty obvious, but maybe for the uninitiated it might not be so. So generally here we have an overview. This is the Wikipedia page for NATO joint military symbology. And the game does make a few changes here, but in general, this is what we see here. So there's two things. One, we have the shapes, and the other is the colors. So blue is friendly, red is hostile, green is neutral, and yellow is unknown. Now, for ground contacts, this is pretty much true. But for the air and the sea, and I believe the subsurface contacts as well, there are some changes with the unknown section here. So basically, with air unknowns, it'll just be an air contact, but it'll be yellow. Also, what the game tends to do is, or what it does do really, is it truncates the contacts for air. So air will be just the top like this here, or just this upside down V. For the ocean or for sea, it's the same. Um, well, no, actually, I believe this is pretty much the way you'll see it. It'll be either a circle, diamond, or square. But for the air, it does cut it. And I think it does that as well for the subsurface. Now, you might notice there is no line at the bottom here, and there's no line at the top here. So it's basically what it's telling you. But the neutrals are the ones that are basically the difference, where the neutrals are just yellow. They're basically this, but yellow. Anyway, the reds are pretty much the same except they're cut here. So let's take a look at the game at some examples here. Um, we can look here at the air examples. Here now we have two half circles. That's because there's a group, right? There's actually two aircraft in there. Um, but these are aircraft, pretty obvious because it's a half circle on the top. A square is a ship. Green, of course, means it's friendly. Here we have some aircraft. Um, and down here we have a friendly ship circle. But the diamond here is showing us that it's a unfriendly or enemy ship. In this case, it's a Arleigh Burke class destroyer. And we have a carrier. This little yellow black symbol here means there are aircraft on board. So this is an aircraft carrier. Um, for surface ships, I'm sorry, for land targets, we have the rectangles here. And here are some examples where you have anti-aircraft artillery with that kind of mound in there. The oval here is armor. The dot in the middle is artillery. An X is infantry, and an X with an oval inside is mechanized infantry, as you could probably guess. We also have rocket artillery, ballistic missiles, and for surface-to-air missiles, we have the anti-aircraft kind of mound with a with the missile symbol there. One other thing that we have in the game here, this particular scenario anyway, is we have a radar. And that's what that looks like. And of course, we have the airport. And any facility, ground will look like this kind of grid square here. Um, the other thing to note is that you get a an info box when you click on a target, and it gives the heading in degrees, where 360 or 000 is due north, 90 degrees is east, and 180 is south. And um, they're doing 167 here. Then you get the speed in nautical miles per hour in knots. This is a missile traveling at 2,244 knots. You can tell it's a missile because there's an M inside. Um, for the enemy air contacts here, this is just upside down V. But you see some enemy missiles here. SAMs. This is probably coming from the surface group here. So you also get altitude in feet. So nautical mile is different from a statute mile. It's a bit longer, where a nautical mile is approximately 2,000 yards or 6,000 feet, and a statute mile is like 5,280 feet. The nautical mile is used by aircraft today and by ships today because it's based on degrees latitude. I can't remember, but it's 1 minute of a degree. It's the arc of 1 minute of a degree, and so that's useful if you're navigating on on a globe. Where statute mile is basically number of feet that you move, and then you put down a marker right on the ground. You can't put down markers in the ocean though, so they've adopted a different scale. Anyway, there is an option to change this to a different icons here. Let's see if I can find it. It's kind of buried. Yeah, here. You can change it to little aircraft symbols and ship symbols. Um, but honestly, and missile symbols, and I think, yeah, there's an aircraft carrier symbol here. But I don't like it. It's hard for me to read this at a glance. Where if I switch back to the NATO symbols, it's much easier for me to see what these units are, especially when I'm zoomed out. Right, I can see, oh, these are ships. This is enemy ships. These are air. So anyway, I hope that's informative, and see you next time.